Hi, good day. This is Anna May from Accelerated Excellence and True Awakenings Coaching and Training Center. Welcome back to the videos. The previous video I spoke about our comfort zones and how they affect us and how very quickly we can justify to ourselves to take a break when we've worked so hard towards our new goal. And I want to follow up from that and talk about something called a change rate indicator. So, what does that even mean? And if we think about change, is there a rhythm to it? Can I measure it? Do I know where I am just before I think I'm losing my mind? Is there hope? And what do I need to do to get through this process as quickly as possible and as comfortably as possible, right? So based on the work done by Virginia Satir, she was a pioneer for her work done in family therapy back in the day. And so she came up with a basic model that when we are presented with some significant or unexpected element from the outside or change, that we would generally go through four phases. First phase is our existing, or call it old status quo, which is our comfort zone, what we're used to. We will then go into a phase of chaos. Sound familiar? From chaos, we'll go into integration. And from integration, we will actually reset into the new status quo. What is the new comfort zone that we've now leveled up into? So I've drawn this picture just to give you an idea of what that would look like. So at point one, we're at the status quo, right? This is the existing status quo, how things are familiar. This is my comfort zone. Then some foreign element is introduced to my existing model of the world, right? So something in the outside world, like a virus or a lockdown or a pandemic or something like that, that is seemingly out of my control. It's unexpected and it's significant, right? So that outside element then creates resistance, because the first thing that we'll do is, no, but everything's comfortable here. So why do I want to go anywhere else where if this is where I'm comfortable? So we have resistance, where we go into a phase, whether we like it or not, we land up in some chaos, right? But there's a lot of time that we can spend in denial here. And a lot of people you'll find saying to themselves, I just want to go back to how things used to be. So that's just our comfort zone wanting to drag us back to how it was set before, in a space of believing that we were comfortable, even though it might not have been really comfortable, but it was very familiar. So rather the devil I know than the one I don't. So running up and down here, you can spend a lot of energy and lose a lot of time by trying to just resist and deny and go back to how things used to be. In terms of a relationship, I remember my mom telling me the one day, it was so cute. Her and my dad had a disagreement, and she took the wedding photo and she said, where's this guy that I married? And he pointed to the same photo and said, well, where's the girl that I married? So we always want to go back to how things used to be. And if you think about a relationship, things will change, right? You grow when you're 20 versus 30 versus 40. You grow every year, every moment, every day, every second of your life. So there's no guarantees that we'll be growing in the same direction, but we will go through phases where we feel we have chaos, and we can use that denial to keep us stuck there, or we can start asking ourselves, what do we need to learn from all of this so that we can integrate it and become the new version of me? Take our relationships to the next level, take my career, take my health to the next level. But if I pretend that it doesn't exist and I just deny the existence of this, then I'll spend a lot of energy up and down and up and down and up and down here, because we just try and climb back up here as far back as what we can just to go back to our comfort zone, right? So once we're in this chaos, this is also referred to a lot of people by rock bottom, that I've hit my rock bottom and I've got nothing else to give. And this rock bottom actually leads to a point of acceptance. Once we've accepted this, then we can start integrating it. Integrating what it is I need to learn, need to become aware of. Did I really do that? What was I thinking? And wow, I didn't know I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So a lot of the times we just need to integrate all of those levels. Now that I'm aware, I can do things differently. If you're having a financial struggle through this time, well, you didn't know that you needed to prepare for something like this, necessarily like a lockdown or anything like that. You couldn't have foreseen that, but integrating that will make sure that if you ever have an unexpected and unforeseen foreign element, that you can be better prepared for it. That your new status quo, let's say your break even was here, but it was below your existing or above your existing status quo. Make sure that your new status quo is above that break even line, so that you do not have to go through chaos in that specific thing again. Okay. So really there's one key that allows you to move from step 3 to step 4, from chaos to the new status quo, which will then become your new norm, it's a beautiful word called action. Very simply put, we've set goals. We spoke about what it is that you want to become very clear, what steps you need to take, how do you need to think about yourself, how do you need to think and act and behave in order for you to get there. But if you do not take action, if you don't actually do something physical about that, then the integration phase won't take place, right? So behavior comes from that motivation of the feeling. So the exercise I did with you guys in the beginning of the videos is to what is it that I need to be clear about what I want, so, and then use that clarity, turn it into a desire statement so that you can communicate to yourself in a way that can cause you to believe what it is and feel what you need to feel, because the feeling and the belief will switch on the behavior, and behavior is then the action. What do I need to do consistently, repetitively, until that new behavior is installed? In that action with repetition creates this integration phase. Because if you don't take any, you can think about changing your diet, but if you don't actually take the steps and make the different meals or buy the different foods or clean out your cupboards from the junk that's there, if you don't, and I'm hoping that most of you at the end of this lockdown have certainly found a way to clean out all the junk so your cupboards are nice and clean and creating a space for this integration, right? So, but without the action, if I don't go to the gym or get the gym program that I can work at home and don't actually start doing it, I can dream and wish and visualize and meditate on that and do all sorts of thought exercises, but without the physical action, there will be no change, right? So if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. So the doing is important. What are you willing and ready to do differently that will allow for this integration phase of the change? You can see that it's double the height of where you were before, right? So who you become becomes double the person you were before just by integrating. Now, from a nervous system point of view, let me explain this to you in an analogy. Remember when we used to go to the beach when we were kids, and for some reason, as human beings, we always want to build dams. Maybe it's in our DNA. So we'd take sand and we'd pack it along. So if there's water coming down somewhere on the beach, you would take sand and pack it so that you can guide that and create a river. And if there is more water than sand, it'll wash right over that sand. But what will happen once you've actually put enough sand to create a bit of a wall there to govern this water in a different direction, then what the water would do is it sort of bulges up and then retreats a little bit, and then bulges up, it pushes a little bit further onto the sand and retreats a little bit, and then bulges up and pushes a little bit further. And like that, it starts slowly but surely forming this new pathway, right? So that's literally what's happening in your nervous system. Is the more you take the steps, the more you are actually consistently, it's like the water pushing through, take a break, rest, push it through, take a break, rest. There is no path there yet, but the more action you take, the more this path will begin to form. And so once this path is formed, then the path of least resistance will be followed, and your mind will say, oh, that's the easy way. And so it's totally integrated and becomes your new norm. Okay, so very important in terms of the change that we are going through, because the pressure is seemingly less in terms of the threat from the virus. Obviously, we have the threat still financially in the economy and everything, the ripple effect as a result of that. So this is the phase where taking action is important. This is the phase where you have to see it through if you want to reset that comfort zone. And you have to focus on that outcome, on how much you want that new change, because the mind is working towards pleasure or away from pain. So if the goal, when you set it in the beginning of this frantic state that we were in with lockdown, was really motivated towards pleasure, but now it takes effort and it's not necessarily as exciting as what it was before, because your environment is not the same anymore. So the motivation is not the same anymore. You've got to motivate yourself. You've got to say, hey, remember my old status quo created a very chaotic experience for me. How do I prepare myself in terms of being able to be flexible in my behaviors? So when something, because life is going to go through those phases, there's always going to be a new challenge, not necessarily a COVID-19 challenge, but there's always going to be new challenges, a new shift in career, a new shift in your relationship, not necessarily a new partner, but a new shift in the direction, or your partner gets promoted, or there's retrenchment taking place. How are we going to integrate ourselves consistently so that we can be flexible in our style, and we have more tools in our toolbox that can keep us in a resourceful state when those changes occur, because your new status quo would have integrated all that you have learned through this experience, all that you have become as a result of this experience. And that brings me to closing off. Tony Robbins is a nice saying that I like. And it's not so much the outcome that is important, but who you become while getting the outcome. So who are you becoming as you go through this change? Who are you becoming as you integrate all of the information, all of the learnings, and adapting to your new status quo? So I hope that was useful, and feel free to send me any messages if you have any further questions, either underneath the video, on the post, private message, or even if you go onto my website and find my cell number, you are welcome to WhatsApp me or email me from there. So sending you much love as always. Stay safe, stay motivated, push through. This is the time. Take the action. Even small steps is steps in the right direction. If you can acknowledge 2 small things every day that you're doing, that will allow you to integrate. Acknowledge that you're doing it. Give yourself credit for doing it. You don't have to be able to turn the world upside down, but 1 or 2 small things every day is enough for you to recognize that you are integrating. And before you know it, you're going to say to me, you know what? I'm not even trying anymore. I'm just there. So again, sending you much love, and see you in the next recording.